Got a chance to see the independent film Strange Darling with Willa Fitzgerald. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. I am doing a little class next week on Zoom, if you're interested, about how to produce, how to write to a certain budget, which we're going to talk about with this film as well. This is a master class on how to write to a budget. And also remember to give me that like, give me that subscribe if you can. I'm trying to grow the channel out, so it's free. Go ahead and ring that bell. And also Mark Spears, who does a lot of comic book art, cover art for Marvel DC, has a whole bunch of classic monster art. So he and I teamed up to do Myth Lords. It is a classic monsters card game. It's very easy to learn, and we're going to be launching that in October. You can find that in the link below, link in the description below, about where to sign up on Kickstarter so that you can be notified about when that releases. All right, so let's jump into Strange Darling. So I got a pre-screen for this. I think it comes out next week, I think. But this was actually shot in 2022. So this movie is actually 2 years old. It's taken 2 years for it to get to the screen. I did see that it cost, I don't know if this can't be right, but the number I heard was $15 million. For looking at this film, I can't understand what cost that. But we're going to go into all the different things that did go into it. I think it was a lot of it was in the cast. So this film was written and directed. You know how I feel about writer-directors, because you have got to have other input from people, because chances are you are too close to your project to be able to write and direct unless you've been in the business for 20, 30 years, where you've done a bunch of different things and you're able to distance yourself from this. But that's not how JT Molnar, I have not gotten that out of him, that kind of experience from him. So I saw the movie that he did, Outlaws and Angels, with Eastwood's daughter, and I was not impressed. I like westerns, and it was just not good. So from seeing that, I can tell that he's not really able to distance himself from the project or from the material to be able to direct. And that's why I tell everybody that you must direct other people's things. If you're looking to be a director, don't start as a writer-director. Start as a director and then turn into a writer-director. But I'll tell you what the difference is with this film as opposed to his others. Giovanni Ribisi. So Giovanni Ribisi, if you haven't seen that, he hasn't been acting for a while, and the reason being is that he shifted to behind the camera. He has become a cinematographer, probably one of the first actors to ever become a cinematographer. I've never heard of such a thing. I've seen actors turn director. I've seen, actors turn producer. I've seen all those things, but I've never seen an actor turn to a cinematographer. I've never seen it. So he probably listened quite a bit to Giovanni Ribisi, who obviously has a ton of experience. I mean, you can't find a guy that has a more experience on both sides of the camera than him. JT probably did the right thing and listened to Giovanni Ribisi as well. And that's why I think that this film far exceeds his previous work. And I really can't talk much about this film because anything I pretty much say gives away the film, and I do not want that to happen. And if you see the film, you know exactly what you probably thank me for not saying anything about this film. So I am going to go into a couple of things, but I'm not going to go into any spoilers whatsoever, because if you spoil this movie, the whole experience with it changes. Okay? So, in fact, it was funny because I got this pre-screen and it said that it had a Q&A. So this is my first film pre-screen here that says a Q&A in Atlanta as opposed to LA. So when you have a pre-screen in LA, normally it's in Hollywood. This was not in Atlanta. This was near me. So I thought that was kind of strange that we had a Q&A with the filmmakers, and it wasn't even in Atlanta. You know, I'm about 20 miles out of Atlanta. So when you have a pre-screen with Q&A in LA, you have it in Hollywood at one of the major things there, movie theaters there. And then on top of that, the actors that come, you know, I mean, that's where I met Kate Beckinsale at her pre-screen. And I was literally able to walk up and talk to her after the film. It was pretty wild. And yeah, she even signed something for me. It was raining that day, so it's kind of smudged a little bit, but I think that's what adds a little bit of realism to it. In fact, the thing is a little smudged. But anyway, so that's what I was expecting here. I was expecting the actual filmmakers to show up, and it was only 8 of us or 9 of us in the entire theater, so it wasn't even full. So I'm thinking, okay, well the actors and filmmakers just didn't even show up. But it wasn't. It was an actual. It was a Q&A taped from like South by Southwest or whatever, or Fantasy whatever. I don't know, Fantasy Fest or whatever it was. But I have never seen such a thing, because every Q&A I've ever been to, the real actors and the real filmmakers were there. And this is the first time that I'm seeing a taped one. So I did a couple of I screen taped a few of them. So let me show you a couple of them now. It was the interviewee, or the interviewer, I should say, interviewer is Carla Gugino. Of course, she's an amazing actress too. She's done a pile of things. Yeah, and it's funny because Willa Fitzgerald is from the first season of Reacher. She was the cop. She was the female cop in the first season of Reacher. And she's also acted against Carla Gugino during Fall of the House of Usher. It was interesting to see them because obviously they have a relationship already. And let me play a couple of things from it right now.
Playing the love story in earnest. And having a real connection until something changes, something shifts. And I was hoping that any of us who have ever been in a relationship that felt really right at one point, and then all of a sudden something just shifts.
And so much of it, again, though, doesn't feel like it comes as sort of a construct from the outside, or an idea that's being forced onto something. Feels very organic story-wise. And yeah, and I thought one of the questions I had based on that is, it's very interesting to have a career as an extraordinary actor filling a frame, like being on one side of a frame that we're on, and then seeing it from the other. And I wonder if, and I know you've spent a lot of your life also behind the camera, just for your, even if this is your first movie as a cinematographer, obviously that's been of great interest to you, but did you find...
I mean, I guess what I see as the lady's fundamental need is connection and being seen. And I think you are totally right. There are many moments of feeling that connection and feeling seen. And I think that there is the moment of utter betrayal and the subversion of everything that she thinks she knows about this person who she's made a very deep and fast relationship with. And I think that for me, the really interesting part about everything that happens after that was finding all of the moments after that initial betrayal where there is still hope.
So yeah, some interesting stuff. And the only reason I think that the movie cost, if it did cost $15 million, that the added expense was them shooting on film on 35 millimeter, as opposed to the film that we shot, which was Super 16. I don't know why anybody would do that, but so they probably shot on 35 millimeter, which probably added at least a couple $1 million to the budget, is what I would think. Because nobody really sells film anymore, so the prices have gone up, and then the development side, all that's gone up. So anyway, it's pretty interesting. So I forgot that there was no, because it's a pre-screen, that there was no trailers in the front of it. So I got there 15 minutes late, and it probably started like right on time. So I probably missed the first 15 minutes of the film. So I don't know. So I thought I had missed a lot because I'm like, what's going on here? And I really didn't miss that much because you're supposed to be confused in the beginning of the film. It is shot like a Tarantino film. So it is shot out of order on purpose. So you're getting, literally, it's like, the first scene I saw was chapter 5. I saw the scene right before chapter 5. And I'm like, wow, they went through, 5 chapters in less than 15 minutes? That's crazy. And so it wasn't. It was chapter 5, chapter 1, chapter 3. So you're supposed to be confused throughout the beginning of the film. And that's where, where it kind of takes you in a different journey than what you might expect. Okay, so, and it's funny that, first of all, Willa Fitzgerald knocks this out of the park. I mean, her acting is so engaging in this film. She is able to take that role and run with it. One of my friends was the director of Weeds and Medium and Alias. His name was Perry. He always told me, I said, what's the secret to directing? Not that I've ever directed, and not that I might never direct in my lifetime. But I said, what's the secret to directing? And he gave me one word. And the one word was movement. So either the camera has to be moving or the actor has to be moving. That's how you engage the audience. And I'll never forget that, the fact that he said that to me. And of course, he's won tons of awards, and he's in the DGA and obviously etc. So if anybody I'm going to listen to, it's going to be him. So, but the situation is with this that her acting was so engaging that he was able to hold on shots, literally hold on shots, for probably a minute, if not more. And I don't even know how big a 35 millimeter mag is, about how many minutes are in there. I can't even tell you. But he was able to hold on that. And that's very, very unusual, to be able to engage an audience with an actor. Then Kyle Gallner, and then at the end, too, before I bring up Kyle, the end, I've never seen this before. So the color correctionist turned down the intensity of the color gradually for the whole last scene of the film to the point where it turns black and white. Amazing. I have never even thought about doing something like that. It's just amazing. Normally, it's black and white or switch the color or whatever. But with this, he gradually, where you almost like not even noticing it until you notice it kind of thing. So pretty interesting stuff. I thought that, even Carla Gugino said this, that the colors are really pop. This is a master class in writing to a low budget. So he has 2 main actors only. 2. That's it. And then he has maybe half a dozen day players. That's it. And maybe 5 locations. That is how to write a low-budget film. Everything you can count on literally one hand. It's amazing. And it's engaging all the way through. Of course, there is some action. There's some car play, stuff like that, which probably added to the budget. And then he has Barbara Hershey and Ed Begley Jr. in it which probably also added to the budget. I'm sure he didn't get them completely cheap. I'm sure they weren't expensive. I think we know more about those two characters in the 10 minutes that they're on screen than we know about the two main characters. We don't even know their names. He calls one lady, if you look at IMDb, he calls one lady and the other demon. That's it. And that's I think that's on purpose because the characters don't really know each other. And they're there. It basically, if I want to just tell you the basic plot that you can see in the trailer, it's about two people that meet in a bar. They're going to have a one-night stand, and they're sitting in the car discussing how that one-night stand's going to go. And from there, all hell breaks loose, right? So, and the guy is chasing her down with a gun. That's all you know from the trailer, and that's all I'm going to tell you. So that's the basic storyline, and it keeps you twist and turning all the way through the film. So, and it throws out any kind of trope. Everything that you think is tropey, it throws it out the window. Gun safety laws and stuff like that. It does not lean into that. It leans into, what is it, the Second Amendment or whatever amendment is that allows you to carry weapons. It leans into that heavy. It really does. It's definitely not pro gun safety laws. That's for sure. So anyway, I cannot recommend this film enough. Oh, Kyle Gallner. So I met Kyle Gallner. I was at my buddy Talon's house. We were discussing Lords of L.A., which was, again, my vampire mob in the 50s. I ended up turning into a comic. But we were talking about doing the pilot, and Kyle was supposed to be in it. He was going through some family issues. I think he was going through a divorce at the time. So, I only got to meet him once. But really nice guy. He's very reserved, which was unusual for an actor, but he was very reserved. And but anyway, so we never actually got the chance to shoot that, but I did get to meet him. Of course, he's done a pile of movies and things like that. I'm glad that he picked this up because I think this movie is going to elevate both of them. I don't know if it's going to do well. That's the whole thing. So for $15 million budget, let's say 20, which is low for and plus it's been sitting there for 2 years. It hasn't even been distributed for 2 years. They shot it during COVID, or at least were discussing the pre-production during COVID. They probably shot this right after. But 20 million times a 2.5, this thing needs to make $50 million bucks. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd be surprised if it makes that much. I'm thinking it's going to hit more like 20. That's why I'm really surprised that they were able to get $15 million for this film. It's not a $15 million film. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with it. I hope it does well. It deserves to do well. Willa really needs some kind of an Oscar nod for this. She really does. And when you see it, you can let me know what you think of her performance. But without her doing this performance the way she did, the film does not work. The film, if she was not able to pull that character, the film does not work. So, pretty amazing stuff. Anyway, I've talked too long about that. I don't even have enough pictures to put up for 16 minutes of footage. But anyway, go ahead and check it out. I really highly recommend it. It's a low-budget film. Support it. And that's it. Remember, too, to give me a like, give me a thumbs up. Remember that I'm going to be doing a class next week. And then on top of that, make sure you subscribe. And again, the link in the description below will both have the thing for my class and also for Myth Lords. So definitely check out the description for those links. It only takes 10 minutes to learn how to play. It's very easy. It's a deck builder. But definitely check that out. The artwork alone is worth the price of the game. All right. Plus, it'll come with figures as well. In fact, this one's not my painted one, but there's a Frankenstein figure too that's going to come with it. Anyway, I will see you guys on the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out some other videos as well, and I'll see you guys on the next one. I am going to see Alien Tomorrow. All right. Talk to you later. Bye bye.